There you go. They just, it's funny, they just left out the start of it. They just completely left out the start of this game. I guess. Well, I guess it's like a what do you call it? It's a subtitle. There you go. It's a game nobody's heard of, but it's quite fun, so I'm gonna play it. Hopefully it doesn't have copywritten music, though I doubt it does. There you go. Just launch that. It's a game I wanted to stream, but I played a lot of, like, by myself when I was just, like, tired, because it's a really relaxing game. Let's make sure that applies properly. Make sure the stream switched over. It sure did. Wow, look at that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to play this. I'm not going to play my actual campaign. I'll start a new one for fun. Parallel universe? I don't know what this means. Can I change this? Nah. What do I want here? Oh, goodness, what's a fun? You're not my resolution. That's fun. Okay, sure, why not? This is that one. Universe, I don't know, 69? That's a funny number. There you go.
You have to question everything. Why do people go missing in the rings? The company blames pirates. But why would anyone resort to piracy? There is no money to be made there. No glory. Only fear and, ultimately, death. Why would you choose that life? And why doesn't the company just blow them all up with an orbital strike? Don't tell me they don't know where they're hiding, with that array of telescopes watching everything. The company wants you to be an obedient little drone. Master ever doesn't care if it shoots ice, rocks, ships, or stations. They know that, and they hope you won't figure it out. They aren't your friend. Question everything.
Wow. Sorry, I forgot I lowered the audio super low, because I was playing this on my own. I had no reason to have it high. Can I adjust the audio up high, please? Higher? Where's the sounds? Right here somewhere. There you go, music volume. Apparently music volume is what affects the talking. Anyway. Do I need a crew? I suppose I need a crew, huh? Who wants to join my crew? Mechanics, I need a pilot. You got a pilot in here somewhere? Basic beginner? I'm looking for a self-trained beginner, because they're cheaper. Nope, that's my only pilot. Alright then. There's not much to be talked about over this game. It's just a game I play to relax, so I'm not going to have much to say, unfortunately. Mechanic, we need... And can we afford a astrologer, or astrologator, or a geologist? No. Okay, well, we're fine, probably. The whole premise of this game is you fly into the rings of Saturn and you mine up goodies. It's very relaxing. Until it's not. But I figure I have nothing else to do, and I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to start a new game on game that I just beat, Mechanicus, but, you know, it's fine. Music's so quiet. I turned it back up and it's still quiet for me. Should I go with manual controls? That sounds crazy. There's an achievement for using only manual controls for 15 minutes. Been wanting to see some of this? Oh, really? Oh, good. What's it like? Oh, it's very relaxing. I don't know exactly how to explain it. It's a game where you float around mining the rings of Saturn. You pick up debris, not debris, you pick up like pods, like life pods, debris. You sort of, there is a story, but you sort of just happen across it rather than like do it yourself. It's a lot of we're just floating around slowly. Oh, I've got the freaking wild lidar. I don't have like a good one. So the idea is you find a thingy, you target it. You don't have to. You can do manual controls like this, so you just sort of zoom around. But that's a lot harder to control. And if you're relaxing, there's no reason to. What's not manual controls? This is auto. This is autopilot. We can like adjust your positioning, dragging, dropping, accelerating, decelerating, stuff like that. Or I can turn on manual controls and just fly my ship free of that automatic pathing. Manual controls is a lot more difficult, but you can get a lot more precision out of it. And it won't like constantly auto-correct like your momentum. Because a lot of times when you're like flying a big ship with a lot of like resources in it, it'll like bounce around, so it'll just keep puffing gas and fire. Like this, what I'm doing right now. And when that happens, sometimes it'll cause problems, because your thrusters will affect like the debris. So if you like go up to this rock, for instance, and like puff your jets, it'll just break them or like knock them away, stuff like that. You don't want that very often. But usually if you autopilot, it'll match your velocity to the drifting rocks. So it's pretty useful to have. You get like mass drivers to just blast rocks apart, and then use the autopilot to speed up slightly faster. You have your units of measurement here, so you go in plus 6 meters per second faster than this rock. And this rock is probably very impure. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I'm going to guess probably platinum. You open your little cargo bay and slurp up the rock. There you go. Yep, it's platinum. But yeah, it's just a whole lot of that, basically. It's incredibly relaxing. It's a bit complicated at first, because it's very, like... It's, like, very overwhelming, especially if you do this. And, like, look at all these things. Like, there's some people here. Just communicate with them. BLT 7746. I don't see a claim beacon. They wandered pretty far from their last mining location, so they didn't have a claim beacon active, but they were threatening me. And then the ETH whatever. I don't need help, thank you. Oh, but my pilot knows this person, so they'll have a communication for a bit. In this version, this area. I'll just mass drive this rock to pieces so I can grab its goodies. You're looking to catch up over a drink, and then once the response comes in, I can... they're not drinking anymore. Oh, good. Not after having a condo. Wow, rough. And now I can ask them for trade opportunities. And they'll be like, ah, yes, there is a trade opportunity somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Right over here. Big Lidar contact. That is a trade opportunity. Probably one of the stations. I can either fly over there manually, but that would take a long time, or I can, like, target it and plot a course, and then line up my autopilot to the velocity. You don't have to use the autopilot, but it's helpful. That'll just zoom me over there. If you come across rocks like this, it'll get slightly in my way when I, like, start to approach. Like, right here, if I pass by it, it'll give me a proximity alert, but I got it too soon for it to matter. And then I'll fly over to the contact, and then they usually want goods. It's right up here. See, you can see it on the lidar. It's up that direction. Press X to stop your momentum. Boost it up a little bit. I'm going to up the volume a little bit more. It's still very quiet for me. Yeah, this is a new game, so I don't have all the bells and whistles that my old account had, or my old game had. There's an achievement for not playing this game for a month. You come back after a month. You get an achievement. So it looks like it's not going to be. That looks like it's not a It's not a station after all. It's a moonlet. It's a moonlet that's not spinning. Which means that it's got a... It probably has a uranium cave in it. The moonlets spin, usually, but if they don't spin, they'll occasionally have goodies inside of them. They'll have, like, little secret caves. Easier than Stanley Parable? Yeah, isn't that one, like, 7 years or something? Or 10 years? Discovered a moonlet. Wow. 10, yeah. Oh, geez, yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's very funny, because, like, you know, it's not a hard one to get. You just have to not play the game. Yeah, so we'll zoom around, see if there's a cave inside this one. I use autopilot, because it's easier to manage. All the stuff on the screen right now is information that means something. It's not just, like, silly, innocuous nonsense that doesn't matter. Like, you have the amount of propellant, the amount of propellant you need to get back to station. Right here, how long it'll take for you to return to station. That's, like, important because sometimes your crew, like, gets grumpy and stuff if they're out too long. There's no caves on this moonlet, sadly. And, like, events will happen variously. And, like, this information here says the moonlet, 11 hours, 59 minutes. That means in 11 hours and 59 minutes, the belt will have moved too much for me to find this location again. So if I leave this location, it'll take 12 hours to get back to station. This will be gone. I won't be able to know. I won't know about it anymore. Mass driver ammo is this. How many bullets I have, basically. Use the mass driver to fight and also to mine. These little rocks here are all the debris that's coming out that you can process. If you have a geologist or an astrologator, you can... I think it's a geologist. If you have a geologist, it'll mark these so you don't have to see them yourself. Like, there's one there and one there. That actually might still be... Yeah, there you go. See, that now my radar's pinging it, so I know where it is, that it's valuable, or potentially valuable. I think that one's going to be palladium? Yeah, that one looks like palladium. So I'll just go over there and eat it. It's an incredibly chill game. There is, like, combat and stuff. Like, you do get attacked by pirates occasionally, but that's not super often. It was palladium. I was right. Oh, hey, big one. So yeah, sort of the whole goal is just to sort of make as much money as you can, buy new ships, upgrade your ships, stuff like that. There's a pretty fair amount of ships. Yoink. Yeah, a problem with the autopilot is it won't take into account the surrounding debris. So, for instance, I just corrected my autopilot there for a second. Because if I would have kept it on, I would have slammed into that rock. It's something that will happen a lot as you get used to the game. You'll just bump into random rocks and stuff. And, like, it's not, you know, usually that big a deal. If you're going slow, but if you slam into it at speed, you will destroy your ship. I've only had, like, one catastrophic breakdown that have actually, like, you know, blown up a ship, so it's pretty uncommon. That wasn't from a crash, that was just from a pirate. But it happens. Ooh, that one's flying away pretty fast, so that might be beryllium. Beryllium's a lot less dense than most of the other materials, so it zooms really fast out of the rocks, and it's hard to catch. Come here, you. Ah, it's vanadium. Wasn't beryllium. And I can hear my radar pinging, which means that it's detecting the other valuable resource that flew away. If you look on the map, up here in the top left, you can kind of this radar, I hate this radar. This radar's awful. Usually there'll be like a display. The red means it's going away from you, blue means it's coming towards you. It's a thing that actually exists. But you'll usually see these, the valuable resources will come up as like larger dots. Yes, it was right there for a second. It was red, so it was going away from me, right there. See? So there's a valuable resource in like a big square moving away from me right now. And that's pretty far out, so I'm not going to chase it. But the radar has a lot of information in it that doesn't really talk about very well. You just sort of have to know what it means. Anyway, to continue my brief explanation of the game's mechanics, you have nanodrome components. You can get like nanobots to like repair your stuff, or like grab materials and or stop rocks from moving around. They're all very useful, but they kind of add like an element of like AFK to the game. Instead of like actively mining, you just sort of like drift gently through space while your drones grab stuff. It is a very nice playstyle, but it's different. Very different. It's not a very good way to show off how the game works. The total ship mass is pretty self-explanatory. More mass means it takes more fuel to get places. It means your ship's going to control worse. Means you'll slam into things harder. You know how it is. It's mass. Power draw, very important stat to be aware of. You have generators. They generate a certain amount of power. You have capacitors. They store a certain amount of power. If you go over your total power draw, or if your power draw is higher than your supply, your ship will shut down, and you will be drifting in space for a little while everything reboots. It's incredibly dangerous. The most times that I, have gotten damaged in the game, it's been because I wasn't paying attention to my power draw. Power balance is just like your average draw and generation. It's fine. Capacitor here is telling you how much power you have stored for use by these. So that's just that. Reactor temperature, I haven't really understood fully. Reactors have like a general temperature they work best at. There's a lot of different reactors and they work differently at different temperatures. I don't fully understand how the reactors work, but they matter. Of course, you have your velocity and your acceleration. Depth is like the depth that you're inside of the belt. I don't really know what relevance that is to have exactly, other than just knowing how far in you are. I don't think there's a real reason to care about that number, other than like maybe finding a point you've missed before when you didn't have an astrologator. But yeah, the acceleration, bearing, orientation, those are all useful information to have, but only if you're using a person who needs to like map out a location for you. And I'm not doing that right now. Yeah, you'll see at the bottom left, I'm filling up my cargo bay with a bunch of different materials. Some materials, there's like a stock market in-game which tells you the values of different materials. Beryllium is always the most expensive. Beryllium's rare. It's called blue gold. That's some beryllium right there. You can see it flying out of my range. I'll never be able to catch that. It's gone forever. Beryllium is like I said, incredibly hard to come by. It's really, really rare. It's not very dense, so it flings itself out. If you want to farm beryllium, you need to get something that does less mass damage, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know what the exact term is, but the amount of force that you put into something. Also, there's a contact on the map. That's what that beeping was. I'm not here to challenge you to a race, but I will learn about the bald eagle. Is your bald eagle for sale? No, it's not. Okay. I don't have enough money, and I will contact you again eventually. What are you flying? What is that rust? I've never seen thrusters like that. Oh my god, it's custom racing gear? Wow. I'm not geared up, sorry, I can't race you. So that'll unlock new items in the shop. It's just a random instance you can come across. So you can buy a bald eagle for 10 mil. I've never gotten one because I'm... But yeah, you can hear them approaching me right now. My beeping is increasing. See, that's the bald eagle there. It's gonna slam directly into that rock. Oh, barely missed it. But they're racing ships. There's like just racing. It's kind of fun. But the bald eagle's like really expensive. I don't know if there's another way to get one. I've only ever seen them from other racers willing to sell them. But it'll unlock different like thrusters and stuff in your shops, which is really nice. One of the best autopilots in the game that from my opinion, is the racing autopilot. But it requires a really expensive scanner, a lidar, to work. It requires the 360 high resolution lidar to work properly. But it's whatever. It's a good one. So yeah, basically I'll probably head back when I get to 100 grand or when my cargo hold fills up. Like I was saying, to digress, the game has now that oh, here's a good example. So my mass is increasing now. Like you can see that my mass is like at 1100 or 111,000. It means that I'm having a harder time like stopping and starting the ship. So just then I had to turn on my autopilot to stop my ship because I wasn't able to do it manually because I was losing control of it. But like, yeah, there's a matter of like being very careful about the amount of stuff you're storing, because some materials are more dense than others. So you'll come across them and then pick them up and be like, oh yeah, delicious materials. They probably sell for a lot. Ooh, my thrusters are blasting that rock apart. It's fine. And then you'll be like, all right, well, you know, I better pick up everything I can possibly get. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm actually, you know, 50 times heavier than I was when I started, and I can no longer control my ship. And then you'll slam into something and your cargo bay will like burst out and you'll lose all the stuff you farmed. Or your ship will go into like free spin and tear itself to pieces. It's a rough one. But, yeah, again, to go back to what I was talking about, there's a stock market in the game, and different materials have different prices, and those prices change over time. Beryllium's usually around 20 grand to 1 kilo? Not kilo. Ton? So, it's pretty valuable. Iron's the most plentiful resource. That's usually around like 900, 800, something like that. To give you a good, to give you an approximation of like value, the most plentiful resource is worth less than 1,000, and the most expensive is 20 times that. Vanadium is usually pretty good. Tungsten's usually pretty good. Palladium's like iron. It's not great, but it's not bad. Platinum's kind of middling. You can actively search out for certain types of resources. If I go into my incredibly complicated menu and like click on one of these, if I had a geologist, it would highlight areas where we found certain resources, so you can get a general idea of like I was going to try showing you, but I forgot that I didn't have a geologist. It'll generate, like, show like an area where we've discovered materials. So ideally, that's where you'll go if you want to come across that kind of material. In the immediate vicinity, of course, because, you know, when I leave this area, I won't be able to get back here with that, because I don't have an astroligator to, like, tell me where in the belt I am and track the relative position of my location to where the belt is. It's not a huge important thing to do. Like, I imagine, like, if you have a specific mining spot you like to visit, it matters, but I've never actually made a huge effort to keep track. I kind of just float into the belt and then mine away wherever I am and just have fun doing that. I don't mind the tedium of floating around and grabbing little bits and pieces of rock. I find it quite enjoyable. But it's just a really chill game. You'll come across, like, some events and stuff out in there that look kind of weird or wild or, like, you know, suspicious or scary or spooky. There's, like, a lot of variety in the universe. My inventory is filling up, though, because I'm picking up a lot of, like, platinum, which, again, is like a kind of a... It's like a middling resource. It's not, like, cheap, but it's not, like, super expensive. And I also noticed that my thrusters can't keep up with, like, the tracking of this rock anymore. So, like, the autopilot's struggling because it's trying to, like... Oh, let me stop before I slam directly into this. Ouch. Okay. My thrusters burned that rock apart, but... It's not a rock, it's like an ice chunk. But, sometimes, like I said, you lose control of the ship. Because the autopilot's not very smart, obviously. So it'll do its best to try and get to where it wants to be to, like, go after the thing. But if you're going too fast in one direction and the mass of your ship is too high, it won't be able to compensate appropriately. So it'll just kind of, like, make you circle around and around and around and around until you, like, eventually slam into something. I just bumped into that. I'm surprised that actually did anything. I bumped into that at, like, a very gentle pace. But it's important to note, like, right, this is a relative velocity, so I'm relative to this piece of rock floating, I'm going 4 meters per second. But I'm actually going 25 meters per second, which is dangerous speed. They could actually get me in trouble. Notice the scary music. It's because I think we have a pirate nearby. Problem is, I don't like the scanner, and I can't see it very easily. How far away was that contact? We don't know. Oh, they're back behind us. MRS-77. Well, we're not really capable of fighting pirates right now, and they're really fast, so... we are going to leave. You just heard my ship creak a little bit because it was going to tear itself apart if I wasn't careful. I spun too quickly. Let's get out of here before we get attacked. Astrologator, take me back to the station. Basically, we just have to, you know, trajectory match, and then it'll go... It's out of here and load up the area. We made 70 grand. It's not that bad. I've had worse runs. Whee! So when you get back to the station, it'll give you, like, this screen here, telling you what resources you got, the approximate value of the resources, and, like, the total value of selling them right now. Now, you could sell all, which is, you know, fine, or send them to storage. If you sell them to or send them to storage, you can go into the mineral market here and see their value as it goes up and down in the stock market. Sorry, the mineral market. So, like, tungsten's really low right now. I think tungsten's W. I've been calling it tungsten. I think it's W. But vanadium's pretty high. Well, no, not really. No, vanadium was high like a few days ago. Vanadium's low. Platinum is low. Palladium's low. Iron's quite high. Beryllium's quite high, and water's going up. Water is your fuel. So, you know, it's like the most plentiful thing in the universe, whatever, aside from carbon, I guess, whatever. But it's like the most plentiful thing in the belts because it's ice belts. So just sell that at whatever price, doesn't really matter. It's just gonna be cheap. I'm gonna hang on to all the resources except for iron. I'm gonna get rid of because it's pretty high up there. We didn't get any beryllium. We have some platinum and vanadium, but like I said, it's really cheap right now. It's not really worth selling, but I did want to get a geologist in my crew. There you are. Do we have a geologist available for hire? Yes, a self-taught beginner. An astrogator would be helpful as well. I thought it was astrologator, but it's astrogator. But I don't know if I have enough to afford any of the ones available. Oh, we have one right there. Okay, there you go. There we go. So we have our crew hired. We had 4 out of 4 on this specific ship. Repairs are pretty bad. Not great at predicting prices, but better than we were. We have an adrenal slowdown, which isn't actually that important. Total salary is really expensive because our pilot here is like really well trained. Not really well trained, but more well trained than they should be for the current level of my ship. Because it's 16 grand and I just pulled in like 70, but I have to like refuel and stuff. So I'm gonna try and find a pilot that's cheaper. There's no pilots at all, actually, so we're just gonna have to live with it. It's always a shame having the the inability to replace people. But oh well. So you can go to your equipment. It's a bit overwhelming, but you'll get used to it. The equipment, I have one high stress hard point, which is my mass driver. It's on my spine, right here in the middle. You can get low stress, and that's usually like, well, basically anything. There's only a couple of things that require high stress hard points. But there's a lot of different like weapons and equipment you can get. It's really good. The nanodrone components you can upgrade to have nanodrone storage. Make sure you have kinetic ammunition if you're using a kinetic weapon, obviously. Propellant tank. We weren't running out of fuel, so we don't need that. Better thrusters may be worth doing, but they're really expensive, and they draw power and generate a lot of heat for your reactor. That's what these symbols mean next to it. So we can't really afford anything, and all the ones that are up anyway are too hot. Engines are the main propulsion, which is like the back of the ship here, this big one. Those are again important, but not. I don't need an upgrade right now. It's no big deal. I want to replace my sensors if possible, because I hate this one. I really like the high resolution lidar. That one's great. This one's slower and very good at like determining what I'm doing. Step away for a minute and he's playing Xenonauts again. I'm not playing Xenonauts, but yeah. I beat the game, so I went to play a different game. But yeah, this one's great. It costs 75 grand though, so it's really expensive, so I'm not gonna get it. Heads-up display is fine. It's nice. Autopilot's fine. I prefer this autopilot here for 90 grand, or 100 grand technically. But I don't have. You need the high-quality radar and this to make it work, so it doesn't matter. It's too expensive right now. Cargo bay. It's always good to get the cargo baffles early because they stop. You can carry a little bit less ore, but it stops them flying out when you open your mouth. You have a little mouth that opens up, and this, when you like stop moving, it spits all the ore out. The baffles are good, but I'm not going to use them right now. And that's all that is. So I'm going to check, make sure everything is repaired. Everything looks good. I'm going to launch my dive again, and you notice how that symbol's gone now. If I no longer have access to that one moonlet I came across. So I go back. Oh, there's a thing I should have said or shown in that menu, but it's too late now. This is automatic, by the way, in case you're curious. Oh, there's that symbol. Oh, well, I should have shown that off. I forgot that was a thing. I'm so used to it existing that I'm not, like, I wasn't paying attention. At the bottom right, you'll see my ship, like an outline of the ship. That's the reactor temperature here. And the capacitor and how full it is. And then the interior of the ship is colored in green, and at the top here, kind of, you can see a little black box, a little black bit. That's how much fuel I have. If I punch it, it like vents all of my reactors stuff, and like it's using up my, see, look right there, it's using up my battery, and my reactor's cold because I just vented a whole bunch of like water to blast myself forward or whatever. So the reactor cooled down, and that meant it generated less power. So that's important information that is hard to, like, to talk about. Okay, what are you doing? Good veins? No. Still in the shallows. But yeah, so that's fun. I'll try to show you the losing the resources thing, because it's really annoying when you don't realize that's happening. Ah, there you go. See, now that I have a geologist, it shows me the value and what the minerals are. So this is vanadium and this is iron. Both are about the same value, except value for weight is vanadium. So you want less weight so your ship isn't so hard to control. So I'm gonna go get that vanadium. But yeah, the resources maintain physics while in your cargo bay. I'm going to slam into that rock if I keep going, so I'm going to use the autopilot to move myself to the side a bit. There you go. You just click and drag to do that. It's pretty fun. But yeah, so I'm going to grab this, and then it'll be in my cargo bay, and you can see it. It'll go to the back here. It'll go down to the bottom, because I'm at speed. But if I keep my mouth open and then slow down, it goes right back up, and then boink, spits out. You gotta be very careful when you're flying around with a cargo full of like 300 minerals. If you accidentally slow down with your mouth open to like reposition to grab something, it'll spit everything everywhere. And it's very fun looking and very pretty to watch all your materials fly out of your mouth. But boy oh boy, is it a humongous time sink to get them all back in there. But yeah, so mostly you're just looking for any rocks that have anything in them. There is a radar that I want to get at some point that will show you the interior of the rocks, or the icebergs, whatever, the asteroids. Like you'll be able to select them, and it'll like have like a little scan radar down here that shows you the interior, like the general percentage of what's in there. It's very useful, but it's expensive. So right now we're just sort of shooting blind. I might have access to... Oh, hey. No, I'm good. That's a patrol. This person. They're patrolling around looking for pirates. So yeah, see, this is that thing I was talking about. If you highlight certain minerals, we found some iron over there, and there's some iron up here and iron up here. There's some vanadium up here. There's no tungsten. This information is incredibly helpful, but only if you're looking for a specific material, which I am not. So you can use that to find the valuable stuff that you're looking for. You can also do this to figure out where you're pointing if you want to use manual. If you don't want to use your mouse, you can press F to like look at things and target things, stuff like that. Disengage autopilot. It'll try to force you to keep on point because you're autopiloting now, but this is a good way to like aim at enemies as well. If you're not sure where you're facing, you can get a good vision. Like you can kind of hit where you want to go, but the autopilot's not good at keeping you straight. If it's trying to like compensate at range. There you go. See, it's kind of whatever. It's not like it's not something I use very often because I usually use the mouse. But it's good. It's a good game. It's very relaxing. It's just super chill. As long as you're aware of your surroundings, the pirates will rarely take you off guard, and you can just get out before they get you. Try to watch your fire, don't accidentally shoot other people. Some people will, they call it torching. There are some people, I don't know if this is like intentional or just like a sort of flaw in the game's AI for NPCs, but sometimes you'll see that people will come directly up to you and just like turn and do this at you, and that damages all of your components. Like it like burns the hell out of your ship and misaligns all your thrusters and stuff. And it's something that I think is intentional, but it feels like a lot of times friendlies do it to you, and I'm not exactly sure why. But it happens a lot. And it'll be really annoying, insistent, like people who will like float around you trying to steal all your goodies because you didn't put a claim beacon down. So they'll just like hover around where you're mining and pick up your minerals and materials and stuff. And that's usually when you get torched, but it's not super often it happens. It just does happen. Ooh, I have an vanadium when flying. I'm not going to be able to catch that. That's going at like 25. I mean, I can go a lot faster than that, but I don't want to actually slam into something. Ooh, that's more valuable. That's a bigger chunk. But yeah, so this is a game I'd really recommend for people who just want to relax and do a very tedious, repetitive job over and over again. Because you do come across really cool stuff in the game. Like, you come across things that are just kind of interesting to look at and stuff like that. And it has a lot of, like, whimsical sort of exploration feeling to it. But more than anything, you'll just be floating around gathering materials like this constantly. But it's good. It's a lot of fun. If you like that kind of game. I do think I'm going to have to turn off my... Oh, no, you're the same person. Gonzalez! Oh, no, you're not the same person. Apparently my person knows that person. You'll see there's like a lot of events, but like they repeat a lot, so you'll come across the same events very often. It's kind of a shame, but like also I don't know how many people are working on this game. I think it's a pretty small team. It might only be like one person. You'll get like events like this where like a previous employer comes up and your worker's like, you owe me money, and they'll be like, ah, dang, drat. And they'll usually pay you. Not always. Like this time I don't think I'm getting paid this time. But it's whatever. I could also turn off the radar noises, I think, by going into here and... Oh, hello. I don't see there is no beacon. Yeah, that's what I thought, okay. They're warning me about their beacon, but there is no beacon. But yeah, you can turn off these, I think. I don't remember how. This turns them to friendly or enemy. You can choose... Oh, it won't let me. Maybe... Oh, there you go. That enemy or friendly. I think if you do that, it might change them. I don't know. You can turn off the radar completely down here. Oh, it might be in the tuning. When you go back to the station, you can tune your parts individually, which is very overwhelming at first. You can tune your parts to do different things, like the amount of thrust your engine has and stuff like that, to have more control over it, or like make it faster. But it increases or decreases like wear on the part and stuff like that. So it's kind of a preference thing. But over-tuning is really important if you're going to do like racing and stuff, because the default engines are like tuned to safety level, not for performance. But the you can like change your radar's like speed and stuff. So, like right now it's pinging like once a second. It's going doop 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 doop. I can turn that off so it doesn't do that quite as often. But it means that the radar's not as accurate because all these little particles I see coming at me or going away from me, the reds and the blues, the radar will scan slower, so I won't be able to see the updates quite as often. But it is a really incessant beeping noise that I guess can be pretty annoying if you're not the one who's in control of it. Like, it doesn't bother me because I'm the one playing the game, but I imagine it's quite irritating to just listen to it beep over and over again for somebody who's not playing it. Tungsten sells for a ton, so I am going to grab that. I don't like it, though. It's a very small amount. Like, tungsten, like the amount of the mineral to the amount of water is bad. Like this is like 1,000 water or 1,500 water, 2,000 platinum. That's a good ratio. That means you're getting a 4 kilogram rock, basic, or 4,000 kilogram rock, but the more than half of it is platinum. Sometimes you'll come across stuff that's going to slam directly into that. I gotta slow down. Sometimes you'll come across stuff that's like, you know, 5,000 water to like 200 something else or whatever, and it's like, that's crazy bad value. It's going to take up so much space in your cargo hold, and it's not even going to give you that much money. Unless it's beryllium, in which case go for it, because beryllium's really expensive, but, you know, that's kind of an exception. But yeah, I'm not gonna do a super... I'm not gonna make a super huge amount of money from this. It's early days. It's very early days. One of the things I always try to go for first is the haul drones, just to make it a little bit easier to get a hold of things. But again, that adds like more of an element of like AFK farming to it, where instead of like actively chasing down rocks, you're just sort of like floating while the drones get them for you. I kind of like the AFK element, but it does take away a lot of what makes the game fun, which is like controlling your ship. Okay, well, I just burned that asteroid to pieces before it hit me. Same with that one. And let me regain control. Okay, there you go. See, so that was another problem. Like the autopilot was like keeping me up to speed with this thing, but I was still going over 20 meters per second. So I like, you know, lost control of the ship because again the number over here is going yellow, which means my thrusters are not capable of fully keeping myself in control. But oh well. On my other account, my other save game, hey, beryllium, nice. On my other save game, I have like a really big ship. It's like really hard to control, but has like so much storage space that it's like crazy good to just like sort of float around with and gather. The ships are pretty expensive though, so I don't think I'll be able to get another ship on stream. I can try though. But this game does require like a surprising amount of like processing power and like for whatever reason, because like everything in the game is like 3D models. Like this is a 3D model of a ship displayed in 2D. So like it somehow uses up like 30% of my GPU or something to play this game. Which doesn't sound like a lot. It's not a huge amount, but it's a lot more than you'd expect from what the game seems like. It also has a lot of like physics calculations going off. I'm gonna hit this if I don't full burn. Nope, still got me. Ooh, beryllium. That's much more valuable to me. Okay, catch up to that, please. But yeah, the yeah, so it's like a 3D model that like overlaid with like other 3D models, kind of. Oops, I did not mean to shoot that. I meant to shoot the boulder in front of me to stop it getting in my way. Got it. And there's like several layers or whatever, but the once you start to get used to the like debris floating around, it's a little bit less like obstructive. Because part of the reason I had a hard time playing it first because I didn't know about the crew, so I couldn't really figure out what rocks were mine and what rocks were just debris floating around. But this is really helpful to tell if you don't have like an easily readable velocity meter or whatever. It's really easy to tell where you're going or how fast you're moving because these rocks will just fly by. Yeah, I can try to get I can try to buy a new ship. Odds are I won't be able to get one. I think the cheapest ship that I can probably get that's different than the one I'm flying is like useful. It's like 300 grand or something like that, which isn't like a crazy amount of money to get. Like that right there, like that tungsten there is worth 11 grand. Like if I can get more of this, like it'll be, you know, done in no time. But in the half an hour I have left to stream, I'm not positive I could manage it. But I'll try. I'm gonna hit that ice roid if I don't move immediately. There you go. Should be fine now. Who is that? Are you a rescue? No, I'm fine. Oh, you're the person who's patrolling again. You're a friendly. Can I just like... Yeah, I can't stop that beeping because I didn't turn it off in the menu. I don't mind the beeping, like I said. It's only me being aware that it could be annoying to somebody else. What do you got? Ooh, vanadium and tungsten. Hello. I swear to God, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna be so sad if tungsten isn't W. Like, I know vanadium is V, and I know palladium is PD, and I know platinum is PT, and I know iron is Fe, and I know beryllium is Be. But I swear to God, if W isn't tungsten, I'm gonna be super sad. Because I remembered all the other ones. It's gonna be like freaking waddenite or something I've never heard of. Some new material that came out of nowhere. Why is tungsten? Why is tungsten? What are you? Palladium? Sure, I'll take some. Why not? I'm going too fast. Slow down. But once I hit 100k, I'll go back. Because my ship's getting kind of hard to control. That one. Palladium. What is that? That's more vanadium? Sure, I'll go after that. Uh-oh. We got danger music. There's a mechanic in the game that if you're in danger of, like, slamming directly into something, it'll auto-toggle. I'll see if I can show it off here without actually getting in danger. No, I can't. Oh well. I can press a button. It's Alt or T. It activates slow motion, so you can like maneuver yourself better. It's called the adrenaline booster. It's kind of cool, but also incredibly frustrating when you're like flying in a dangerous area. Because it'll always turn on if you're like near rocks. So you can turn it off manually by going into this menu, going to mechanic and turning off adrenaline booster there. It's a weird one that you want to turn it off, but I don't like it on. Like, it is helpful, but oh yeah, see, this is my ship like having a hard time like stopping itself. There you go. We're gonna fly back to station now that we have 100 grand on us. We have 35 meters cubed available in the cargo hold, but so we still have room to fill, but it's kind of like difficult at a certain stage to keep filling the cargo before it starts to like kind of bounce off of each other, the minerals. It like there's less, it says you have a lot more room than you kind of do, I guess. Like there's like what is it, like a predicted amount of room and then like an in-practice amount of room in your cargo. And, you know, it's not great. A really important thing to also get early on would be one of the processing bays, because notice how I have 53,000 kilograms of water, and it's the value of like 5,000 kilos of, you know, iron. Like, it's a lot of space that it uses up water. And, you can process the water out by purchasing a cargo bay. And this Rusatom Antonov MPU for 350 grand, very expensive, so I'm not going to get it, but getting that is one of the first things, if you play the game, I'd recommend getting, because that'll allow you to turn your minerals into liquid minerals, which isn't, like, incredibly helpful, but the remass processing, that melts the water out of your cargo bay and turns it into fuel, so it lets you stay out in the belt a lot longer, and gets rid of all the waters taking up space in your inventory. If you go to your ship, you can see the stats here are processed cargo storage 7,000 kilos. That's 7,000 kilos of individual material. So that one cargo bay processes material at 30% efficiency. So it means that you'll be able to like get at 30% efficiency the ore up to 7,000 kilos of processed metal. So I mean, that's not like great return, but you'll have like a free storage bay of 7,000 kilos for every mineral, and then when you've hit your limit on that, you can turn off your processor and start collecting physical, the unprocessed metal, and keep on storing that. So you have like a big old cargo hold of processed, and then like you can continue to fill your cargo after that with unprocessed later, which isn't something I can explain very much. I might have to play the other account after all, just to like sort of demonstrate what that means. Also because it's fun, and I miss my old account. Let me see the ships real quick. What do you have available? 2 million for that, 350 grand for that, 800 for that. Ooh, the Chonker is a fun one. 467 for that, though. It's really expensive. This one here is 300 grand. If I could get the one that isn't... Oh, the triplet, too. I don't really want the Chonker or the triplet. I was hoping to get the regular one. But, like, that's a good example of a ship that doesn't fly anywhere near the same. Because this one has one big thruster at the back and a couple of, like angled thrusters, so it's very, very bad at turning, but it's very good at like propelling forward. I'd say probably one of the best ships in the game early on is the Prospectors, the Eagle Prospectors, the Peacock Prospector, those ones. They really serve a good purpose. They have a good, pretty big cargo bay. They fly well. But always, I'd recommend keeping your original ship, just because it's nice. Oh, here's the 3D model of the ship. They have promotional, like, promotionals. They'll, like zoom around it and show you what it looks like. Oh, I got to the end of it. It was the tail end of the promotional. There you go. Look at that. Wowee. It's pretty good, right? Anyway, so yeah, there's that sort of stuff. But let me pop off to my other game real quick so I can demonstrate the different ships flying. Yeah, that one. Trustworthy Mars. That's one I'm not going to show off because it's crazy different than any other ship in the game. Oh, no, it's not. It's just the same ship I was using. Martian War is what I was thinking of. Let me grab... Oh, God, which one should I grab? North Science is out of commission. That's my mining ship. Let me grab one of these, I guess. One of the... Do I have the Pelican off cooldown? Yes. Okay. Swap to the Pelican. Launch a ring dive. Just anywhere, doesn't really matter. Up there somewhere. So the Pelican is like one of the Prospector variants. The Eagle variants, my mistake. There's the Peacock, the Eagle, and there's the Bald Eagle, Peacock, the Pelican, and the regular Eagle. The Pelican is the one I use. It has a much larger cargo bay, and it switches out the front grinders for a mouth like the original ship I had. But these grinders don't work very well. They like to wiggle around, if you can see that. They're too big, so they have like physics attached to them. So if they have anything pressing up against it, they'll cause problems. Oh right, this ship is really bad. I haven't upgraded it enough. So like that warning, that noise is telling me I'm using so much power that I'm gonna shut my ship off. Basically. Lost the ability to pay attention anymore. That's okay. I'm just going around talking. I don't care. I have nothing to do. I'm just zooming around. Okay, we're not gonna use this ship after all because it's gonna keep on doing that noise, and I know that's annoying. I don't mind it, but it's annoying. Shh, it's fine. Shh, it's fine. I had to sell a bunch of parts off of a ship, and I must have been this one because I needed to purchase a different ship. But, yeah, different ships have different, specifications, I guess. It's like, the Pelican's a mining ship. All of the Eagle variants, except the Bald Eagle, are mining ships. The Peacock is like a luxury ship, though, so it has, like, more crew quarters, I think, or it's like less crew quarters, but they're, like, bigger. So people are more happy to fly in it. Where is it? Fleet. The North Science. Let's do that one. That one's my best ship. By a long way. This one won't overheat using it. It's also like one of my biggest ships. It also controls terribly. But figure I only have like 15 minutes left, so I'll just do a quick, essentially AFK run while I just talk over what's happening. It's not the way I'd recommend playing the game when you first start, but it is something to do if you want to relax. And just sort of zoom around and make money in the game, listening to the weird space noises. But yeah, so this, like, you'll look at this here. My cargo bay, and it looks a lot smaller than the ship I had on the previous game, on the previous, like, save file. But this is, like, a much larger ship, so that's, you know, relatively quite a bit larger. Yeah, the ship is so big that it doesn't like to, move at all. So, the whole AFK gameplay style, which I'm not going to do much of, like I say, because it's not very fun to watch, I imagine, but you go up here to velocity and put it to like 15-ish, and just sort of like aim it in a direction that you see on the radar here. There's nothing up there, there's nothing down here. But I have point defense microwave generators, which are automatically shooting microwaves that boil away the water off of the asteroids. So that I can get minerals off of them more than water. And it doesn't generate a whole lot of, like, force, so it doesn't fling the materials everywhere. Like, it ends up doing a lot with the mass driver. So you'll see, like, it's just kind of zapping away, and then it burns up all the stuff. And then I have nano drones that grab the materials and put them in front of my ship. See, look at how much this. Look at all this. It's great. Like before, I had to chase down one material at a time, and the nano drones will just shove them in front of my ship. And as soon as they get within like range, they'll start to pull them back in. So they'll just go straight into the hole. And I don't have to do anything. It's really convenient. But this ship specifically has these canisters, which are specialized storage for processed materials. So, whereas most, like that last ship that I showed had like 7,000 processed material storage, these have 90,000. So each one of these containers has 90,000 storage. And the main compartment I have is like 27,000 or something like that. So whenever I do play with this ship, which is pretty rare, but I do it for money, I usually come back with like 1.5 million per trip or something like that. But it's like a really, really good ship for this kind of thing, where you're just like letting it drift. My hands aren't even on the keyboard right now. My ship is just drifting through space, collecting the materials for me. It's, again, not like exciting gameplay, but the music's kind of relaxing, the sounds are kind of immersive and fun. And just sort of like watching, it's kind of like what do you call it, like the zero-player games, like the idle games where you just sort of like watch a game do its stuff and the numbers go up. It's kind of like that. It kind of scratches that same itch where you're just sort of like watching the game play itself. And you can like do little minor inputs here and there to sort of make it do different things, but overall it's just kind of doing its own thing. But this is not like the ideal way to play the game. I would not recommend this. It just is kind of an option that you can do. But I'm gonna head back. This, I have to turn off my thingies because they'll keep, they'll keep on grabbing rocks and interrupting my travel. The problem with this ship is that it's really, really expensive to send out into the belt. So it cost me, I think it probably cost me around 90,000 to do one deployment, whereas like that other ship on my other account only cost about 1,000. That's because this has a fuel tank about 150 times the size or something like that. And all the nano drones cost a lot to process as well. So it's kind of whatever. But it's a really good game for relaxing. I would recommend it. Also, the crew is crazy expensive for this ship. Yeah, let's see, negative 91,000. So, send that all to storage. Let me check the mineral market. I probably have some in storage. I have a lot of beryllium. Beryllium's on a peak, so I should probably sell that. There we go. Now I made a bunch of money. Repair those thrusters, because they're really bad, and they get burnt out really easily. I'm insured for 500 grand, so it's no big deal. But yeah, it's good. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna go back to this one. You're Not My Resolution, because there's a measure of like temptation playing an AFK game ship, whereas like I don't have the option to do that here. I have to actually manually play the game here, without the temptation of doing literally nothing. But I'll do another few minutes. See, here we go. This is like my mass driver ammunition. You can adjust this if you don't want to like go in, and it costs money here. Nanodrome components are like really expensive. There is a cargo bay that processes materials into nanodrones, which is like incredibly lucrative because it means you're essentially running an emission for no cost. It's like pure profit. But it's like really expensive to get a hold of, and it changes the way the cargo bay is shaped, because the cargo bay has to house the new processor. And that processor is shaped in such a strange way that it's really difficult to not get all of your ore jammed at the entrance of the processor. And the way that, because everything still has physics and like stuff while you're playing. Like your ship still has physics, all the ore still has physics in your cargo hold. So like when you're moving around, it like shifts and turns and like gets stuck on itself. And because of the way that's shaped, it has like, it's like a wave formation. It's like a bump that goes up into like a hole. It just gets jammed all the time. And while it does mean you operate with no cost, it's super irritating when you just like cannot get stuff into it. But I imagine some ships are better suited to that kind of play style, because I haven't played with every ship yet. But the ones I have done, the ones that I have upgraded to that one, don't like it. My geologist is not doing its job. Or their job. There we go. Platinum, sure. I got a lot of scans coming up. Do I have people nearby? Oh, I do. Looking for veins to mine. Yep. And I'm not looking to challenge anybody. I don't have any money for this person. So I'm just gonna not be rude as best I can. Just start a conversation. They know each other. Do you know of any trade opportunities? We do. Wow, thank you. How kind. Sometimes it's worth it to check out those radar anomalies. I say anomalies, but like when these pop up, sometimes they'll be like red or yellow or like orange. I don't remember what color it is. And a lot of times that means that the people who have them like don't have transponders, so they can't be tracked. And that could mean they're a pirate. But sometimes it means that it's like a ship that's been like out of commission. Like it's been attacked by pirates and the ship is no longer functioning, or the crew had to abandon ship or whatever. And you can go up to it and check it out. And sometimes if you have like the right sort of kit, you can haul the ship back to station and claim it for yourself and sell it. And it's really cool. You can be like a scrapper. I forgot to tune my radar down, so it's just going to keep on beeping loud for a while. Yeah, the soundtrack is really pleasant. It's not like particularly like, I don't know what the word would be, like, complex. It's very much just kind of like sort of pleasant droning noises, I guess. But it gives you a very nice feeling of like, you know, spaciness, I guess. Platinum, I'll go for that platinum, I guess. Just need to get around this because I don't want to turn on the autopilot. There you go. SE1. Have I spoken to you already? Yeah, you were that guy. Okay. They're miners who are having a hard time out in the belt right now. Which I can't imagine. Because, like, honestly, if you're just flying around getting materials, you're always going to get them. So just then you saw, if you were watching, saw two light streaks fly by my ship. The mass driver, this thing, has an effective range of like 8,000 meters. So basically that was another miner off in the distance shooting their mass driver and the bullets continuing to fly past their asteroid. And it could have hit me, and it could have badly damaged me if it hit me right. That's just a funny thing that can happen sometimes. Sometimes you'll just get slammed in the side by somebody else's, like, mass driver. Because they were shooting off in the direction you were currently in. And 8,000 is a long distance. If I go into this map, 8,000 is like outside of this radius. It is 1,000 to here, right? That's 1,000. If I go back into this, you look up here. This is 1,000 right here. Meaning my camera can zoom out to 1,000 here. So 8,000 meters is like really far. So this gun that I have can just hit somebody way out there. Like, and I'll never know. So sometimes you'll just get slammed by a mass driver out of nowhere, and it's very startling, but it doesn't happen very often because, you know, in the grand scheme of a 360-degree radius, or diameter, whatever, there's a very little chance you'll hit something any distance away. You know, because like the chance of like, you know, 360 degrees from here to here or whatever, like 90 degrees, you know, I can hit anything anywhere. But if that's like 100 meters up, like this thing right here, and then the next 1 degree over is like over to here, basically. So you get like a gigantic gap in the middle right here. Whoops, forgot I was meant to be mining. A giant gap. I don't need to explain how degrees work, but basically you're unlikely to get shot. But sometimes you'll see the streaks fly by. Anyway, yeah, this is a game I wanted to play on stream a lot, but I knew I wouldn't really be able to play it for any amount of time, because I really enjoy the game, but it's not like a very entertaining game to watch. It's just a kind of game that just sort of you hang out in and you play. It's very chill, but like not entertaining kind of thing. I really wanted to play it on stream at some point just to show it off because I like it, but I needed to find a time where I'd be willing to play it, because I wouldn't give it like more than a couple hours at most, because I wouldn't be able to fill time. Because I've run out of things to ramble about. I've explained the game's mechanics and why I like it. But most of this game is nothing happening. So it's not much to talk about. You just sort of go around shooting rocks, and then sometimes events will happen. That's good. One thing I will recommend, if you do decide to play the game, anybody, double tapping enter is how you open your bay, like that. Double tapping it keeps it open, so you don't have to press it over and over again. But that does mean if you slow down suddenly, all your guts are going to spill out. Which I'm not going to demonstrate. Maybe I will demonstrate it as like the end of the stream, like as my departing breath or whatever. I was like, I'll just hit the brakes going really fast and watch all of my stuff just fly out of my cargo hold. That'd be fun. See, this is something that AI likes to do. If you have the autopilot on, occasionally rocks will get stuck, like right here, but your autopilot won't know how to, like, compensate for that. It'll just start to, like, fly around in circles trying to get that, but it can't. See? And then your ship turns off, because you've overheated your reactor, or underheated it. But yeah, it's not a big deal. It just happens. It is a big deal if you're trying to catch something at speed. If you're going like, you know, 20 meters per second, 30 meters per second, 40 meters per second, and suddenly the ore you were chasing gets stuck on like your ship somewhere, and your autopilot starts spinning you out of control at 40 meters per second, you are going to die. You need to turn off the autopilot and correct your ship. Like that is, otherwise you will slam directly into something and explode. It's a good game to get sleepy to. If you don't mind the ever-present beeping of people on my radar. It's very relaxing. Yeah, once you get over the UI elements and how like kind of overwhelming it is to look at, it becomes a lot easier to manage. I remember launching this game the first time I got it, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, because it looked like a game I think I would enjoy, and being so confused at what anything was, what anything meant. And like, there's a tutorial, I think, but it doesn't give you a whole lot of information. It just sort of like, I think it just briefly explains what everything is, and then just like lets you go about your business. I'm gonna slam into that rock. There you go. But yeah, the first time I launched this, I had no idea what was going on. It was a nightmare to figure it out. Because there's just so much screen furniture. Like, the UI is, like, a bit unwieldy, and, like, different ships have different, like, HUDs. And you can, like, replace the HUD with different ships' HUDs if you prefer a certain HUD. Which is really cool. But, I was lucky that I got the ship-specific HUD, because the first time I ever played the game, I had the most basic heads-up display, and it was an absolute nightmare to figure out what anything meant, because it was literally a basic heads-up display that served only what it needed to do. It didn't help. It wasn't like informational at all. Oop, lag. Again, like, it uses a lot of processing power for some reason, just because it's always rendering physics and stuff at all times. Sometimes it'll just do that out of nowhere. It also might have generated something in the distance. No, I don't need help, thank you. I see no claim. Ah, yeah, see, this is one's like, oh, this is my place, and they're like, oh, what are you gonna do about it? You call me out on this, I'll kill you, kind of thing. Just a normal thing. They usually are just posturing. I don't think I've never been attacked by somebody doing that. But I've also never really stuck around after being threatened. So maybe they'll kill you if you stick around for too long, I don't know. But I kind of just drift off and grab whatever's around. I don't look for anything specific. I'm actively trying to get away from people too right now, if I'm honest, because I'm trying to stop the radar beeping, but I just keep coming across more and more people out here. You do that really often in the shallows. There's a lot of people digging around the shallows of the rings, but if you go deep, you get a lot less people. Deep being like past the first ring, or the first like empty belt, whatever it's called. What is it called? It's like a gap. The Keeler gap right there. If you go past that, people stop showing up quite as often. Do I want to stop for palladium? I guess it is 4,000. That's not a bad value. Be careful with your ship. If you spin it too fast, it'll tear itself apart. Gotta keep doing that. The more mass it's carrying also affects that. Oops, that's the wrong button. I pressed spacebar to open my cargo for some reason. Nope, didn't get it. Oh well. Yeah, you'll see at the top right, there's a visual feed up here. That's mostly cosmetic. It does actually mean something, but it's not actually very helpful. It tends to mean that something valuable is nearby, or something of interest is happening. When it's like flickering like lights like that, when it's like shining, that means like there's something of value or something is happening. It's not helpful. It just sort of exists. It's a basically a flavor thing. It's kind of nice, but if you go into the ring like this, if you find like right there, do you see that very briefly? There's like a shiny bit right there. See if it pops up again. Kind of. Oh, there's also one right out here. If you go to that or that, you can like click on that area when you're like launching for the first time. You can click on those areas and you'll be more likely to find like better stuff. like beryllium and stuff like that. So like higher value deposits, more rich deposits, stuff like that. It is very useful, but only when it's in that section, not really when it's in this. Like not when you're in mission. When you're like deploying for the first time, it's nice because it takes a long time to get anywhere. Like it's a very big area. It's the rings around Saturn. Even in made up like sci-fi space travel speeds, like it still takes a long time to get around. So you're probably not gonna come across like there's a rock in front of me that I'm about to have to fly away from as soon as I grab this. Right there. I wasn't too close. But yeah, so if you ever do like want to get to like that area out there in the middle of the belt, you have to launch for it because it'll take you like an hour or two to go from like where I am to like down there. And I mean, if you have the time, go for it, but it would take you 30 seconds to go back to the station and then pop back over there. Oh. Not really a big deal. But I guess I probably should start ending my stream, so I'll do my little spinny thingy with the cargo bay open for fun, because it's silly. So there we go. Just have a little stop right here with a little bit of space. But yeah, to digress, I beat Mechanicus today. It was a fun game. I had a lot of fun. I'd recommend this game as well. It's a lot of fun, but you gotta kind of want to like this kind of game. But I will be heading off. Take care. Have a good rest of your day, night, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. My ship's just gonna crack in half if I keep doing that. You can hear the combat music start because I'm like taking damage. There you go. There's all my stuff pouring out of me. Yeah. Take care. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.